Welcome to the Crawcast. I'm your host, George Krawczak, and these are my predictions for Week 18 of the NFL season. And let me preface this from the start in saying, I get it. Not a lot of these games matter. Only a couple of them really matter, and only a couple of them are worth paying attention to. But these games matter to every single player and every single coach. Because some of these players, this is going to be the final time they step foot on an NFL field. Okay? A lot of these guys, their dreams of becoming an NFL superstar are going to be over this weekend because some of them won't be able to make a practice squad or an active roster, and so every single one of them are going to be trying to show that they are worthy of being in the NFL. So even the backups that are playing, they are going to try their best to show everyone, hey, I am a good NFL player, I'm a capable NFL player, and I should be on a team next year. And then coaches, same with them. A lot of these coaches, some of them are going to get fired and never going to be given another opportunity. So they're going to try to show, hey, look, I am a good coach. I can coach these guys, and you should either keep me on my current team or I should be hired as a coordinator with another team. So given that, let's get started. So the first game is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. I think the Ravens are going to win. The Ravens are still fighting for the division. And if with a win here, I believe they will be able to win it. And it's one of those things where I keep going a little bit back and forth because, like, the Browns, it feels like they really are good at showing up in meaningless games. And this could happen here, but it seems like they'll start Dorian Thompson Robinson, and I just cannot pick Dorian Thompson Robinson over Lamar Jackson. It just can't happen. The Browns just aren't good enough, and the Ravens, I think they'll win the division and get a home playoff advantage. The next game is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So again, the Steelers need to win this to try to win their division, get home field advantage. And then for the Bengals, they need to win this and they need the Dolphins to lose and they need the Broncos to lose. It's going to be a tough road, but if anyone can do it, I think the Bengals can. Joe Burrow is playing like an MVP this year, and I think that at least he needs to be in the conversation up there with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And he's just playing like one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the NFL right now. And so, just I think the Steelers they have been struggling a little bit. Russell Wilson has been struggling recently, and overall, I think the Bengals are just going to win this. The next game is the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. Uh, I think the Packers are going to win. Green Bay doesn't have a lot to play for because right now they're the seventh seed. They need to win, and they need the Washington Commanders to lose to get the sixth seed. And so overall, I don't think it really matters in the sense that, okay, if you're the seventh seed versus the sixth seed, there's almost zero difference between those two. And I think the Packers are going to win just because Matt LaFleur has never lost to the Bears, and I don't think it's going to start here. I do think the Packers are going to try and win. It is one of those things, though, where if anyone is even a little bit injured, they're getting benched. There's no point in playing them, even if they're a little bit injured. So the main goal here is to just get out healthy over winning, but just overall, I think the Packers are a better team, and they also want the momentum going into the playoffs. The next game is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers. Uh, I think the Panthers are going to win. So the Falcons, they need this to win this game, and they need the Buccaneers to lose to make the playoffs and win their division. I just don't see that happening. The Falcons' defense is extremely beat up. Michael Penix Jr. has just been okay in his previous two games, and I think this is going to be a little bit of a statement win for Bryce Young, showing that he was worth the number one overall pick and has been playing better. Um, the Panthers have been playing better as of late, even though overall it's just not a very good team. And I just think the Bryce Young has been playing better and is on the up and up. And this is going to build momentum for next year. Kind of reminding me a little bit of the Lions, where they were started the season a couple of years ago, I believe 1-6, and then they finished it 9-8, and beating the Packers to knock them out of the playoffs, a division rival. And this is what I think the Panthers will do here. The next game is the Washington Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys. So if the Commanders win here, they get the sixth seed as opposed to the seventh. And if they lose and the Packers win, then the Commanders get the seventh seed as opposed to the sixth. Again, not much of a difference between the sixth and the seventh seed. I'd argue it's virtually no difference. Um, It's just that the Cowboys have been playing terrible recently. They just cut Ezekiel Elliott and overall just been playing really bad football. And then the Commanders have been playing pretty decent. I don't think they've been that great, but definitely better than the Cowboys. Jaden Daniels is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And overall, I just think the Commanders are just a better football team, and they're going to kind of ride the momentum in the playoffs, and we'll see how they do. The next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts are going to win. This game is one of those really meaningless games. Uh, Doug Pearson, I think, is still fighting for his job. It's unclear if he will get fired or not. I think he probably will not. And then the Colts, man, who knows if Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco is going to start. But overall, other than their defense just completely blowing it and playing terrible last week, I think the Colts are still a fairly decent team. And I think Jonathan Taylor will help. Their defense will probably improve. Well, it can't be much worse than last week. And just overall, I think the Colts are a better team. The next game is the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. I think the Patriots are going to win, so the Bills aren't going to be playing any of their starters. They have the number 2 seed locked up, and they really have nothing to play for other than just staying healthy. And the Patriots, Drake May has been playing really decent as of late, and it's really good, all things considered, just because of how bad of a team it is and how good Drake May's been playing. And I think Gerard Mayo is definitely coaching for his job. I have no idea if he'll be fired or not because part of me says he's been a bad coach because I do think he has been a bad coach. But then also, this team has been so terrible that I don't even know if he you can solely blame him for his coaching and saying like nobody can win or do well with this team because of how bad it is. So I don't know if he'll get fired or not, but he is definitely at least a little bit on the hot seat. So again, yes, it's against backups, but I think he will definitely try to win this game and really feels like he needs to win it to save his job. Next game is the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win. I saw reports that they're considering starting Saquon to try to get him to break the record because he's 105 yards away. I think that'd be a terrible, terrible idea. No, bench Saquon. There's no reason to play him because yes, he's 105 yards away from the record, but also you have to keep in mind Dickerson did it in 16 games. This would be the 17th game, and so there's just no point because right now Saquon is your offense, especially if Jalen Hurts out. Well, even if Jalen Hurts in, uh, Saquon Barkley is still your offense, but he is you're definitely your best offensive player and your key to winning games. So there's just no reason to risk him getting injured. It'd be a very stupid move for the Eagles to play him. And then the reason I say I think the Eagles are still going to win because I don't think it'll matter. Um, Drew Lock did have a really, really great game last week, but I don't think he can repeat that. It's going to be tough for him to repeat that just because I don't think the Giants are good. I don't think Drew Lock's that good, and I think even the Eagles' backups are better than the Giants' starters. Next game is the New Orleans Saints versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are going to win and win the division and take that final playoff spot. Just because the Saints are so unbelievably beat up and they're just a terrible team. Spencer Rattler's not good. Their defense is horrible. Alvin Kamara's not going to play. Just they're very injured and just very bad. And the Buccaneers, they're peaking at the right time. Baker Mayfield played really great last week. I'm hoping Mike Evans, I believe he's like 85 yards away from reaching another 1,000-yard season, if I remember correctly. So I'm rooting for Mike Evans to do that. And just overall, I think the Buccaneers are a much better team. And I think they do deserve to make the playoffs over the Falcons, just because I don't think the Falcons are that good. And they've been kind of lucky to win a couple of these games. And just overall, the Buccaneers are a better team. They do deserve to make the playoffs. And I think they could be dangerous in the playoffs. And again, anything can go anyway, but overall, just the Buccaneers are a better team. The next game is the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. I think the Titans are going to win. I'm saying the Titans are going to win just because the Texans they were terrible last week, and overall, I don't think the Texans are a very good team. I think they'll probably be one and done in the playoffs if you want to bet money on it. And the Titans, I think Will Levis is really fighting for his career right now because they clearly do not trust him and do not like him. but they're going to give him one final shot to try to prove that he can be their franchise guy for the future. And so Will Levis needs to play well here, and I think he will accomplish that. Who knows? And it's kind of like a win-win for the Titans, because if Will Levis plays really well, then maybe he can be your franchise guy. And if Will Levis plays absolutely horrible, then hey, you're closer to the number one. You're probably going to get the number one overall pick, and you can draft his replacement. And then the Texans, it feels like they have Nico Collins, and that's it. They have no one else at wide receiver, and if you shut down Nico Collins, CJ Stroud just can't get the ball to anyone else, and he's been struggling quite a lot this season. The next game is the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Broncos are going to win. The, it's the Broncos starters versus the Chiefs backups, and honestly, the Chiefs starters have been struggling quite a bit this season. I can't imagine their backups are going to be doing any better, and I think the Broncos are going to win. Plain and simple, they should take that final wild card seat, and I think the Chiefs would probably be happy with that, because right now, if I was the Chiefs, who would I rather face, the Broncos or the Bengals? The Broncos have a better defense, but just with the way Joe Burrow is playing and the way Bo Nix is playing, I'd definitely rather have face Bo Nix. So the Broncos, I think they're going to take it. It makes sense, and it'll be shocking if they completely blow it against the Chiefs backups. They need to win this. I think they will win this. Their defense has been playing great. Bo Nix has been a little bit off and on, but yeah, the Broncos should lock this up and sadly end the Bengals' playoff hopes. The next game is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to win. Brock Purdy's injured and probably won't play. Just the 49ers are just a beat up team right now, and just overall you can't count on them for anything. They are beat up, they're not very good, and just the Cardinals, they're fine. They're looking better. They did have a bad game last week against the Rams, but overall, I think Kyler Murray's also fighting for his job a little bit. Well, he's safe for a little while, at least next season, but who knows if Jonathan Gannon's really locked into Kyler Murray. They do seem like a team on the up and up, where they had pretty low expectations, and Jonathan Gannon seems like a decent coach. But overall, I just think the Cardinals are going to win this. The next game is the Seattle Seahawks versus the LA Rams. I think the Rams are going to win this. It's unclear if the Rams are going to play their starters or bench their starters, but just the Seahawks were terrible. They only scored 6 points against the Bears. I get it. Geno Smith is also one of those where he's fighting for his job, but just overall, the Rams are just a better team. Matthew Stafford does need to be playing better, especially going into the playoffs, because the past few weeks he's just really hasn't been playing well, and the defense feels like it's saving him quite a bit, and he just needs to do better, plain and simple. The next game is Los Angeles Chargers versus Las Vegas Raiders. I picked the Chargers here. I do think they're going to bench all their starters, just because they made the playoffs, and that's kind of all that matters. The Raiders, they're absolutely terrible. They have no quarterback. They have no running back. They're kind of fighting for the one seed, or not the one seed, the first overall pick, and they definitely do not want to win this game. Obviously, they're fighting for it, and Antonio Pierce, he'll probably get fired regardless if they win this game, but just overall, the Chargers are a better team. Again, this game really doesn't matter one way or the other, who wins or loses. I just think the Chargers backups are better than the Raiders starters. Next game is the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. I think the Jets are going to win. Uh, Aaron Rodgers, I think his career in New York is probably over. I just don't imagine they're going to run him back with him and Devontae Adams, and it's unclear, but he's fighting for his career right now. I don't think he's had as bad of a season as everyone says, because I think if you look at his season, it's kind of on par with Patrick Mahomes, except for Patrick Mahomes keeps getting unbelievably lucky in winning games he plays bad in, and then Aaron Rodgers has been unbelievably unlucky in losing games he plays well in. And so I think they've had pretty comparable seasons. And just overall, I don't think he's not having a great season, but it's not as bad as what everyone says. And just they need a nice statement win. Tua's probably not playing, and so I think this will at least give a little consideration. Where do we keep Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, or do we get rid of them? Do we trade them? Do we just cut them? It'll be interesting, but I just think the Jets are going to win, and Jeff Albrecht's going to get fired regardless, so it doesn't really matter for him. And then the final game of the week is the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. This is the most important game and the only game that really matters. The winner here will get the number 1 seed, win the division, get home playoff advantage and the bye week. And the loser here will go on the number 5 seed and go on the road for the playoffs. I think the Lions are going to win. It is going to be really interesting. I think this game can be a lot like the 49ers game, where the 49ers offense was kind of destroying the Lions defense, and then all of a sudden, Brock Purdy had one horrible interception he threw right to Kirby Joseph, and then the second one, Kirby Joseph made a really great play in picking off Brock Purdy, and that was it. Just 2 interceptions, and that's what led to the Lions winning. So I think that could be a similar thing where the Lions offense and defense, Lions and Vikings offense keep going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, whoever makes the first mistake, which will probably be Sam Darnold, costs the team the game and the 1 seed. This game will be very exciting, and I forgot to mention this in the last video because I just find it interesting that the Lions did sign Teddy Bridgewater to be the backup. So that says one of 2 things. Either they really don't trust Hendon Hooker, which is a possibility because here's the thing, even if Jared Goff gets injured, the goal for the Lions is still a Super Bowl. They still want to win the Super Bowl even without Jared Goff. And so maybe they think Hendon Hooker is really that bad and can't play him. But this is my theory. I think Ben Johnson will leave to become a head coach. And then once that happens, I think they might hire Teddy Bridgewater as their offensive coordinator and kind of try to mentor him and groom him into being the next good offensive coordinator. Because he did win a state championship at high school. So that's kind of my thoughts there, why I think they signed him to be their next offensive coordinator. And hey, if Jared Goff goes down, maybe Teddy Bridgewater can do decent. And so, again, this game is just going to be very exciting because Vikings defense has been really good overall, although it didn't look good against the Rams and didn't look good against the Lions. Overall, they've been really good. And then the Vikings offense has been playing really great. Sam Darnold's been great. Aaron Jones has been great. And then with the Lions, their offense is still probably the best offense in the NFL. Great offensive line. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams looking great. And just overall, they are a great team. So this is going to be an exciting matchup. See who gets the 1 seed. And I think it's going to be the Lions, but this I think will be extremely close. Could be a game-winning field goal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, and I'll see you on the next one.